If you've ever wanted to make perfect macarons, you're in the right place. So don't skip the video and watch till the end. I'm sharing my top tips and tricks for getting that crisp shell and chewy center. I used to be intimidated by these delicate treats, but now I know what was going wrong and how you can avoid the same mistakes. Without further delay, let's get started. First, we'll grind 75 grams of almond flour and 75 grams of powdered sugar together to ensure a superfine texture. Don't skip this step. It's essential for achieving a smooth surface on your macarons. Be careful not to overgrind, as the almond flour can release oil, which is the enemy of macarons. To avoid this, pulse grind the mixture instead for the best results. Sift the mixture twice to make sure no large granules of flour make their way in. Discard any large granules left behind after sifting. This step is crucial for that smooth, flawless macaron texture. Now, set up a double boiler and place a clean bowl on top. Add 66 grams of egg whites and 60 grams of granulated sugar to the bowl. Heat the mixture until it reaches 50 degrees Celsius, stirring occasionally to help melt the sugar. Be careful not to let the temperature go above 50 degrees Celsius, as this could cook the egg whites. Make sure to use a clean bowl. You can even wipe it with a drop of vinegar and a tissue to ensure it's grease-free. Once the mixture reaches 50 degrees Celsius, remove it from the heat and begin whipping it on low speed, around speed 2. As it starts to get frothy, gradually increase the speed to medium. Keep whipping and feel the meringue as it forms. I haven't fast-forwarded this meringue whipping part, so you can see exactly how long it takes and how the meringue starts to look as it develops. This will give you a clear idea of the texture you should aim for. Using a lower speed when you start whipping the egg whites helps in forming stable and small air bubbles, which are crucial for creating a smooth, structured meringue. If you whip at high speed right away, large air bubbles can form, leading to an unstable meringue that can collapse more easily during baking. If you're loving this recipe, don't forget to subscribe and like the video to stay updated with more delicious content. Your support keeps me going. Once the meringue turns glossy and soft peaks start to form, you can add your desired gel food color. I accidentally used water-based food coloring at first. What a bummer, right? But I quickly removed it and switched to gel. Make sure to double-check you're using the right type before adding it in. Gel food coloring is preferred because it is concentrated and doesn't add excess moisture to the meringue. Water-based colors can affect the consistency of the batter, making it runnier, which can lead to issues with the macaron's structure and appearance. Gel colors give vibrant color without compromising the texture. After adding the gel food color, whip the meringue again on medium speed until you see stiff peaks forming, with a slight parrot beak-like shape at the tip. This indicates the meringue is ready for the next step. Be careful not to overwhip the meringue, as it can become dry and grainy. Overwhipped meringue loses its elasticity, making it difficult to fold into the batter, and it can cause your macarons to turn out flat, hollow, or crack during baking. Now, add half of the dry mixture to the meringue and gently fold it in. To fold, use a spatula and scrape around the sides of the bowl, then lift and fold the batter over itself in a circular motion. Be gentle to avoid deflating the meringue. Once it's almost combined, add the rest of the dry mixture and fold again using the same technique until fully incorporated. Once again, I haven't fast-forwarded this part where we combine the dry and wet mixtures, so you can see exactly how much time it takes and what the batter should look like at each step. If you're enjoying this, please don't forget to subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. Your support really helps. Now it's time for the macaronage, which is a key step in achieving the perfect macaron texture. To do the macaronage, keep folding the batter by scraping around the bowl and then pressing the mixture against the side of the bowl with your spatula. Continue folding and pressing until the batter flows smoothly, resembling a thick ribbon when you lift the spatula. It should flow like lava, meaning it should be smooth enough to settle back into the bowl within about 10 seconds. But not too runny. Make sure to leave the batter just slightly undermixed, as some air bubbles will be lost when transferring it to the piping bag. This will help you achieve the perfect texture and consistency once it's piped, leading to well-formed macarons with the right amount of air. The macaronage process is essential to achieve the right batter consistency for macarons. When the batter flows like lava, it means the air bubbles in the meringue have been deflated just enough to give the macarons a smooth top, and that signature feet during baking. If the batter is undermixed and doesn't flow like lava, it will be too thick, leading to lumpy macarons with uneven tops. They may not develop feet properly, but they taste good too. On the other hand, if the batter is overmixed and too runny, the macarons will spread out too much on the baking sheet, resulting in flat, thin macarons with no feet, and they might also crack during baking. The goal is to reach the perfect middle point where the batter is smooth and flows slowly, just enough to settle itself. Now, fill your piping bag and attach a round tip nozzle about 0.5 centimeters, size 10 to 12. You can use either baking paper or a silicone mat to pipe your macarons. To pipe, hold the bag vertically and apply steady pressure, piping small rounds about 3 centimeters in diameter. Once you've piped each macaron, stop applying pressure and quickly flick your wrist to the side to avoid creating a peak. Make sure to leave some space between the macarons, as they will spread slightly. This mixture will be a bit sticky because we made it using Swiss meringue, which is normal due to the way the egg whites and sugar are heated. Just take your time when piping, and it will smooth out nicely as it rests before baking. Once you've piped the macarons, gently tap the tray on your counter 3 to 4 times to release any trapped air bubbles. If you notice any air bubbles on the surface, use a toothpick to carefully pop them for a smooth finish. Let the piped macarons rest for about 15 minutes in front of a fan to help form a skin. Meanwhile, preheat your oven to 160 degrees Celsius. Resting the macarons allows a thin, dry skin to form on the surface of the batter. This skin is crucial because it helps prevent cracking during baking and allows the macarons to rise properly, developing those signature feet. Without resting, the batter would be too moist, leading to uneven surfaces or cracks as the macarons bake. In a humid area, macarons may take longer to form the dry skin necessary for baking. Instead of the usual 15 minutes, you may need to rest them for 30 to 60 minutes, or even longer, depending on the humidity. To speed up the process, you can place the tray in front of a fan, but make sure not to rush it. Only bake them once they no longer feel sticky to the touch. After resting, placing the macaron tray on the middle rack and reducing the temperature to 150 degrees Celsius with the convection setting is essential for even baking and perfect macaron texture. Middle rack ensures even heat distribution from both the top and bottom, preventing the macarons from overbaking on one side or developing a cracked surface. Lowering the temperature. After preheating to 160 degrees Celsius, reducing it to 150 degrees Celsius helps the macarons bake slowly and evenly. A higher temperature might cause the shells to rise too quickly, leading to cracks or lopsided macarons. The convection setting circulates air in the oven, promoting even baking and helping to dry out the macaron shells. This ensures the macarons develop their signature feet and crisp outer texture while maintaining a soft, chewy center. Baking for 15 minutes at this lower temperature allows the macarons to set without overcooking or drying out. Once the macarons are baked, remove them from the oven and allow them to cool completely before gently removing them from the baking sheet. Add your desired filling, assemble the macarons, and enjoy your delicious homemade treat. These macarons have a delicate, crispy shell that gives way to a soft, chewy interior. The outer layer provides a satisfying crunch, while the inside remains moist and tender, creating the perfect contrast in texture. With each bite, you'll experience the smooth, airy shell followed by the rich, melt-in-your-mouth filling, making them an irresistible treat. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed making these delicious macarons with me. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new recipe. See you in the next one.